By the way, this is Outnumbered, where Bill Hemmer is, or I think it's him. Is that Hemmer in the middle? No, who is it? I don't know who it is. But one of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. It's like revenge for Fox and Friends. They have 4 ladies sitting on the outside, and then there's a guy sitting in the middle. They don't make him wear loose shorts and no underwear, though, so is it really even? Where's the fairness? Where's the fair and balance?
Border agents.
Oh, hold on one second. I gotta go here.
Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered.
I don't want to bum you out. You're doing a great job. Everyone is not watching. Everyone who is watching is a group, but they're not everyone, and they know it, and it makes them sad when you say
to address the crisis.
Oh, quit it. Hold on. It's turning on C-SPAN on me. So hold on. I've got to shut C-SPAN for the time being while they work that out. Here we go.
I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-host Harris Faulkner, and also joining us today, Martha McCallum, Lisa Booth, and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins.
Really? This is the happiest day of Doug Collins' life. Wow, I'm like at Goober Prom. This is awesome. It's like the dating game, only none of you can leave screaming. Go.
Now, President.
Wait, holy shit. Listen to that noise.
Lisa Booth and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins. Now, President Biden is set.
Is that how people react when Doug walks into a room?
To meet with the president of Mexico later today after making his first trip to the southern border as president. A trip his critics say was nothing but a photo op, or
especially the ones who do nothing but border photo ops.
As I call it, a layover. The president's meeting in Mexico City comes as new video into Fox News.
Don't say layover when you're that close to Doug. It gets him excited.
Shows more than 100 migrants being processed in Eagle Pass, Texas. But when
wait, they're being processed? I thought the border was just wide open. He's the president. Can't he just wave them right through? Can he it's like when Trump magically declassifies documents, right? Can't Trump just go, "You're all citizens"? Not a joke. And they're all, is that how it works? Isn't that how Fox think it works?
The president stopped for just 4 hours in El Paso yesterday.
Just 4 hours.
To see the border crisis firsthand. He didn't see the usual scenes of migrant encampments that we've been showing you for years.
That's because you use old footage all the time.
That's because they were cleared ahead of his visit.
Yep, Abbott moved him because he didn't want the president to know he's been misusing federal funds.
Look at the photo right now. What you are about to see is El Paso on Wednesday.
This is a very awkward photo of Trump meeting Abbott. And this is when he gave this. I gave him a piece of paper to show him what for. Your visit to our southern border with Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texans. You couldn't say it with your mouth. You just had to hand him a piece of paper. Here, read this. I put all my angry thoughts on paper.
Versus El Paso on Thursday. We can pull that up maybe a little bit later.
Yeah, not right now. It requires reading, and that's just rude on Fox at this hour.
On his arrival, Texas Governor Greg Abbott handed the president a strongly worded letter.
MAGA! Magoo! A strongly worded letter. Oh, I can't. Somebody hold it. Oh, I can't. Not a strongly worded letter. Oh, God, not. Oh, were there exclamation points? Oh, I can't take it. Fucking a strongly worded letter. Did he take back his stapler too?
It reads in part, quote, your visit to our southern border.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Trump meeting Abbott? Biden meeting Abbott. Yeah.
With Mexico today is $20 billion too little and 2 years too late. Moreover, your visit avoids the sites where mass illegal immigration occurs and sidesteps the thousands of angry Texas property owners. American citizens, my paraphrase, whose lives have been destroyed by your border policies.
Well, citation needed. They might be, technically you can buy a lot of property in Texas through LLCs, and nobody's really checking if it's private property. So you could have cartel guys owning huge houses in that area. Too much, too soon? Sorry.
This chaos is the direct result of your failure to enforce the immigration laws that Congress enacted.
If you don't like me, check this box.
Governor Abbott had more to say when he joined Harris last hour. What?
Yes, after the president had left.
These points that I laid out about ending catch and release, about detaining people who are coming across the border illegally, about turning back across the border people who are coming across the border illegally. All of those are things that the president and the United States already have the legal authority to do, and they are not doing. And until they step...
First of all, then what the fuck is Title 42? First of all, that is Title 42 is still in place. It is exactly enforced the way it was when it was during the beginning of COVID under Trump. The fuck are you talking about? And the process people who make asylum claims, for example, are getting processed. They're going through they're talking to them. They're going, where are you from? They check on them. They run a background check. And then if they don't qualify, they fly them home.
Step up and start doing this. All these other things they're doing is nothing more than a dog and pony show and is not going to stop anybody from coming across the border illegally.
No, of course not. Not with assholes like you going on the television every day and saying that the border is wide open. Gee, I can't imagine where they got that idea in their thick skulls.
Oh, Congressman, truer words never spoken, frankly. I hope President Biden actually did read that letter. It remains to be seen whether he will, in fact, enforce those policies the governor just articulated that they've been failing to do for 2 years.
Well, let's start off really easy right here. No, he's not. So let's get this.
Ladies, right. Can I touch your leg?
Get this all out. That trip to El Paso reminded me of, you ever got a call about 15 minutes, a friend from out of town is coming to your house, they say, hey, I'm stopping by. All of a sudden you take everything and cram it into the closet. Well, this is really what the Biden administration's immigration policy is like. They take everything, they cram it into the back room of the closet so nobody sees it, and then when everything goes back to normal, then they just ignore that it's there. They open.
By the way, anybody remember Trump walking by a street with those people, like walking up and talking to migrants on the streets of El Paso ever, and all the trips that he went down there? What, do they look any fucking different? He's the president of the United States. He is not going to stand near some rando El Chapo dude in a tent who managed to squeak past and is going through an asylum process who's sitting there, or some rando Texan who decides I can be the next, fucking Booth or Oswald by laying in a fucking sleeping bag on the side of the road. Are you out of your fucking mind? Democratic presidents don't do well in Texas.
Put it up and let it fall out. Look, you've had 2 years. They have an open border policy.
No, they do not.
They show no interest in making this happen. Mayorkas is a complete, absolute, abject failure and needs to quit just out of anything else.
I blame the wall.
But this is the problem that, he doesn't see the real thing. And Biden, I think, knows it because we're hearing the reports that he's yelling about it in the White House. But the question is, it's not just knowing something, it's actually doing something about it. Democrats don't want to do anything.
So that's how we know he cares, because he's yelling at people.
He's yelling at people,
I
yes.
mean, I guess between that and whispering, Harris, you had such a great interview last hour with the governor. I loved watching it.
You're wonderful. We're all so glad you're here. I'm going to run this show, not you. So get used to the idea, okay?
And I think what was so
It's like the Real Housewives of Fox and Friends.
offensive and troubling and disheartening as a fellow American citizen of all of those down there, especially in El Paso,
All those people weren't American citizens. That was kind of the point. The people that got, never mind.
is that for the president to receive this sanitized view, as the governor told you, there are more illegal immigrants that have come over the border just since December than the city's population itself. These numbers are staggering.
Yeah, because they keep coming back and they keep getting kicked out because it's Title 42 and they keep making the same run over and over and over again. It's crossings, not individuals.
And yet the president, what are we, Rio de Janeiro, cleaning up for the Olympics? He all of a sudden has to have it be peachy keen. He can't handle the truth?
Well, if he could handle the truth, he would have gone down there unannounced.
There you go.
You know, we've had...
Yeah. You mean the same way Trump went to that church and held up a Bible unannounced?
presidents pop all over the world unannounced.
Do they? Yeah, they end up on military bases, fucko. They don't walk down the streets of a random city in America in general.
And it wouldn't have taken him 2 years to get there. So two things really popped out at me that I learned.
He's been busy passing an infrastructure bill and the CHIPS Act and
learned from that interview that I didn't know. First of all, I didn't realize that the containers and things that the governor had put into place had started to have an impact about a week or a week and a half ago.
Yeah, they totally had. Yes, they had. People were drilling holes in the outside of them, and they were using them to hide in and sneak people across. So instead of like in a fence or in the wall where either you can't traverse, or in a fence you can see where people are gathering, you can send resources to it. What they can do is just they cut a hole in one side and they make a little door on the other side, and then they just peek out a little drill hole until there's nobody there, and then they just run. It's like a way station.
And when did we find out that the president was going down? A few days ago, when they saw that the...
That's what it was. Because the shipping containers on federal land that were, by the way, and the part of the wall that he built that was collapsing, that was going to make give more American land to Mexico the same way Trump did when he builds sections of this shit fence.
The tide had been stemmed just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
But even with that,
he went down there to insist that they take down this thing and it's an open border policy. I told them, not a joke.
The governor today, well, that wouldn't have accounted for not seeing anybody. I mean, you're not just talking about sanitizing the streets where people were lined up trying to stay warm in blankets and get into shelters that had filled up in the city of El Paso.
Well, I mean, they're terrorists and murderers. They're all covered in fentanyl, and they've got guns, and they're El Chapo-y MS-13s, whatever. They can be chilly. We don't care about those people, Harris.
God bless those citizens, by the way, who've done everything they can do and share their space, food, everything else.
With these murderers and these future terrorists. It's an invasion, Faulkner. They're helping the other side.
That's one thing. But the sanitation for the president's political protection was the fact that he goes to a migrant facility where they're intaking like 1,000 people a day. He tried to tell the president. The president's like, no, I just want an average number. He pushes back on this guy to give him a smaller number that he can live with. And he doesn't see one migrant at that facility? You've got 1,000 people. Adjusted number 300 to 400. And not one person is at the facility when the president shows up. You don't have to show their faces on camera. But
okay. This weird thing where I don't know what... Does anyone believe that if Biden, while he was there, met a woman with two little babies that came across and she spoke through an interpreter that she was seeking asylum, that these assholes wouldn't have gone, they concocted this, they moved everybody out and just had somebody, they had him talk to somebody that made it look like, oh, boo, fuckity who. Like, I guarantee it. He didn't meet with anybody for a fucking reason. He was there to see the facility, the part they pay for. The individuals don't really matter. Either they have an asylum claim and they'll be adjudicated, or they don't, they get sent back. That's life.
But my goodness, that is a cleanup of epic proportions. That's a lie.
And who's surprised?
That's a lie. It's terrible. By the way, anybody remember Trump going down and meeting with any of the... He met with Customs and Border Patrol. Did he meet with did he go to the migrant centers and talk to anybody there at all? No.
Harris. This weekend on Fox and Friends, we had the former border chief, Rodney Scott, on. He said when President Trump came to visit the border, there in San Diego, that he had two directives. He said, give me a tour and tell me what I should know. Tell me what's going on here. What were the directives from the President Biden in his visit? Talking points. This was the border chief telling us this in the past. So what else would we expect from this administration?
What's the difference? What's the difference between tell me what I should know and talking points? Phrase. And by the way, I'm not taking seriously what she said at all. I don't know what she's referencing, and I have no reason to believe her. But the idea that it's the same shit. Tell me what you want me to tell them is what Trump was saying.
Other than a manufactured, pre-programmed, sanitized visit, because everything to them, Martha, is about manufacturing a distorted reality. They
You're on Fox.
Can't handle the reality that
the main hosts on your network have all under oath in court settlements said they do entertainment, not news.
Friday night, 33 migrants were shipped here to New York City. That all of those being processed required the volunteerism of what are those, the air marshals. I mean, it's an absolute joke on the part of this administration. This is the final cherry on top. Well, it's pretty
33 people to New York City? Did everybody have to move over?
Clear that they don't want to fix this problem, right?
No, they actually have policies in place to fix the problem.
I mean,
One of them is getting rid of Title 42, so the number of encounters versus the number of people goes down, and you see actually who's crossing and process them through and out versus just have people on a fucking loop, making it look like the numbers are ginormous.
ended the building of the wall. They pushed away Remain in Mexico and Title 42.
Which is still in place. What do you mean pushed away? It's still there. It's still there. Title 42 and Remain in Mexico, still in place.
So when you look at the actual policies that they have implemented or not implemented,
Right, like stopping Title 42.
they're all designed at allowing this to continue. They also just ended a period where they had the House, the Senate, and the White House. So if they wanted to do something about this, they just missed that opportunity. So isn't it interesting that that's when the president goes down? Because now he knows he's likely to have some resistance to a bipartisan agreement on immigration, and that's something Republicans will have to answer to as well.
Yeah, I guess so.
Doug Collins. But now he's going
Yeah, do you think they're actually going to, I don't know, vote on comprehensive immigration reform?
to have a little bit of pushback, even if he wants to say, I'm the person who wants to fix it. But today is all about this discussion between the heads of the United States, of Mexico, and Canada, right? You have Obrador, you have Justin Trudeau. This is an opportunity where we really need Michael Waltz. Congressman Michael Waltz wrote a very good piece on this today, talking about the fact that what they need to focus on is energy production, getting Chinese influence out of South America, and also cracking down on these cartels, because neither one of these countries is running the border. The cartel runs the border. It's an embarrassment to governments to the north and south of this border that the cartels.
Our border and Mexicans' borders, both directions, so is Guatemala on the hook?
Run it. They made $13 billion in human trafficking this year. A couple years ago, that number.
No. $13 billion is how much they allegedly take in for the drug trade, and it's gone up since they are trafficking people. No.
Was 500 million. So this is a huge business for them. But we have drones, we have human intelligence, we have ways that we can work that border with coordination with the Mexicans.
We don't have to. We have a wall. It works. Walls and wheels. Maybe we should put some wheels down there.
Let's see some aggressive discussion about being proactive and cutting back on these cartels, because
Cutting back on these cartels. Does anybody know what that sentence means? Because I don't. Cutting back on these cartels. Let's give them a little trim. Let's give them a little.
they are in charge.
Martha, that right there, that was literally presidential. But instead, what we got from
Martha,
actual
2024.
President Joe Biden.
There's an announcement
He
here.
asked the question. Yeah, but listen to what the actual president asked when he got down
Yes, presidential to her is literal gibberish.
there. He said, he was caught on air saying, if I could wave the wand, what should I do? Oh, I don't know, Mr. President. Did any of the lawsuits filed by the attorneys general, maybe the governors, maybe the disaster
Read the letter
declarations
Abbott
by
just
the
gave you.
mayors? Get out of here. So do we have a president, Lisa, or do we have a genie in a bottle?
Well, we
She's my new favorite. I'm sorry I didn't get her name earlier in this, and I'm sure it will come up again. But I'm digging the wound up with nowhere to go intellect. I'm digging the sort of random getting offended at things at incomplete thoughts. That's special. That takes more. That's quite Bongholio. Maybe he teaches a class there.
We have a liar in chief, right? This is an Orwellian presidency.
Yeah, 1984, and we're all in Animal Farm, and this is so Orwellian in its own Orwellianness. Everything is up, is down. The border, he's saying it's closed and it's open. We say it's open and it's closed. Everything is gutter speak. I don't know.
It's a gaslighting presidency. I mean, you look at
Yeah, it's all those references that I hear but don't understand. It's those. This is Psycho, but if he really was his own mom. Oh my God. Does anyone smell almonds?
Look at everything. We're being lied to. I mean, we're facing a massive propaganda war from the media and this administration. And
You are in the media, dum-dum.
it's on everything, right? You look at this sanitized version of the border where they kick everyone off the streets and clean it up for the photo op, right? You look.
No. if it's I'm sorry to do this to you right out of the gate, but if they cleaned up the people on the street so that he could have a photo op on the street, then show the fucking picture of him walking down that street but with no people on it. He's not anywhere near there. He's at the wall. He's talking to those people. That if it's for a photo op, show the fucking photo.
Look at with the vaccines not providing immunity. They changed the definition of what it means to be vaccinated. Oh, men can have babies. You know, men can get pregnant. It's pregnant people now on everything. Oh, you don't like, we're in a recession. You don't want people to know. Just redefine it. Right? So that's what we're...
Yeah, we're like, no, words don't even mean stuff anymore. I don't even know what stuff is at this point. I mean, stuff I like need to put in storage, but why isn't that stored? Stuff is stuffing stuff? I don't know.
We're facing this is an Orwellian presidency. We are being...
Is it Orwellian though? Or am I mishearing you?
Lied to on a monumental scale, and sadly, much of the media, not us, are following...
No, not you guys. You obviously...
following along with it. And fortunately, we have a small group of Republicans who fought for change. They'll force a vote on the Texas border plan. So you're going to have some of these Democrats on the record. What do they really think about this?
Yeah, really.
You know, and to Martha's point, that's why Joe Biden is doing this photo op, because he knows he's...
Notice how they're going to force a vote on the Texas border plan, but not on comprehensive immigration reform, which has the votes to pass.
He's going to feel the heat. The past 2 years are going to catch up to him, and he's going to be exposed, and so will this administration. So it's time to light the fire under him.
Yeah, it's time to like put his feet to the fire and other torture analogies.
Well, real quickly, he wants to run again. So this is part of the cleanup on aisle 7. Just to piggyback shortly.
Cleanup on aisle 7. Hi, dum-dum. He's been in for 2 years. Trump could have fixed this. He didn't. He used Title 42 to push the problem into the future so he could pretend it fixed it, and it doesn't because it's unconstitutional. It would never survive. But he could push it either into his next term where he doesn't have to give a fuck and it's not my problem, and if he could just hold it through his second term, he could lay it off on somebody else when it gets turned over and say, I had it fixed, which is exactly what he says about his own time in there, even though it was COVID that slowed down border crossings.
Off of what you said. So the cartels, they had a prison break about a week ago now, and one of the heads, a really, really dangerous individual.
Wait a minute. There was a really dangerous individual in a Mexican prison. Shit, everything's falling apart.
Gets out, and they are fighting warfare along the border with our country. 17 people.
The border with our country, not at the border with our country. Just
guards died in that fight to keep those people contained. What happens when they can't contain them? And that's right, Juarez, right across from El Paso, where the president was. It's interesting. None of that got talked about during this visit, and he was right there.
Yeah, because that happened in Mexico like a week and a half ago as part of their ongoing attempts to like deal with the cartels down there, and nothing did reach the border. The idea of like, you don't think we have a contingency if like a cartel firefight drives across the fucking border and starts shooting in El Paso? You don't think we have DHS and CPB and the fucking U.S. military don't have they've stolen a helicopter and they're flying into U.S. territory. You know, what do you think we're going to do? Just like, well, the border's open. I don't know what to tell you. They're flying in over the wall. There's nothing we could do.
Follow the arrest of El Chapo's son. To Martha's point, it is the cartels that are running everything. If anything, Biden should meet with them instead of
they should be at the table.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. Just saying for the record, I would not recommend Biden meeting with them unless he shaves his head and wears a little hat like Walter White.
Perhaps because until they are in some way or until they're under pressure with these drones and intelligence, they don't have any incentive to budge.
Well, we also have a DHS Secretary who said crossing the border illegally is not grounds for deportation. So we could also start with him.
It isn't if you have an asylum claim. The reason he said that was because of the zero tolerance policy put forward by Trump and specifically Miller in his cabinet, or in his, I guess he was just an advisor, Stephen Miller. But So they were trying to just use the fact that if somebody has a legit asylum claim and they are fleeing Mexico, or they fled into Mexico and they were being pursued, or they could not find safety there, continued to the United States, that just the fact that they illegally crossed the border was not enough of a crime to count as a violation of their asylum claim by saying, well, we don't allow criminals in. That was the plot. That was their strategy. If we make that an unforgivable crime on that level, we have a zero tolerance policy, then anybody who seeks asylum legitimately, if they do it by running across the border, is immediately disqualified and guaranteed never to stay. That's what they were shooting for. Now, she's awful, so that's not surprising. But that was, I mean, this is the brain trust that's operating on Outnumbered right now.
With
reading
my
it-
workers,
yeah.
there's a lot needed.
Yeah, there is a lot needed. It's so fun.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch
Emily Campagno.
me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered.
Oh, you and your co-host. Used to be, Harris used to drive this show. Is she getting Judge Janine? Is that what's happening? Do tell. I'm not going to waste any popcorn on it because there's not going to be enough for 2023.